Oh, guys, good, you're here. I am so excited. Guess what? I hope this isn't about your podcast again. Why, did you finally listen to it?
Before we start this podcast, let me invite you to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, YouTube, or any podcatcher. I'm such a cute.
Gobble, 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 gobble.
Let's do the turkey dinner dance. Come on, let's go. Join right in and follow me. You can do it fast or slow. Turkey to the left, cha-cha-cha. Turkey to the right, cha-cha-cha. Turkey up and turkey down. Turkey all around. Suing gravy to the left, cha-cha-cha. Suing gravy to the right, cha-cha-cha. Suing gravy up and down. Suing gravy all around. Mashed potatoes to the left, cha-cha-cha. Mashed potatoes to the right, cha-cha-cha. Mashed potatoes up and down. Mashed potatoes all around. Pumpkin pie to the left, cha-cha-cha. Pumpkin pie to the right, cha-cha-cha. Pumpkin pie up and down. Pumpkin pie all around. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Gobble, 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 gobble. Sit down.
Hello, Pups and Kittens, and welcome to another fun-filled episode of the Groomer Next Door. This is episode 151. It's going to be a great episode because we are going to be joined this week by a filmmaker who is actually making a documentary in Los Angeles about the Spay and Neuter law. His name is Ari Cohen, and he'll be joining us a little bit later. I'm your co-host, Chris Green, and sitting next to me is the ever-busy Sarah.
Hello.
And when I say ever busy, we are just finishing the PTO Holiday Bazaar, which we will get to in a minute. That was a lot of work, a great deal of work.
Oh my gosh, it was.
and to think it's Saturday right now, and we're working on a Saturday. Well, let's dive into this week's fun fact of the week. Because we actually have a filmmaker on, I thought this would be suitable. Fun fact of the week is Hollywood's first and arguably best canine superstar was Rin Tin Tin, a 5-day-old German Shepherd found wounded in battle in World War I in France, and adopted by an American soldier by the name of Lee Duncan. He would sign his own contract, Rin Tin Tin that is, would sign his contracts with his paw. I thought that was a really cool thing to think. Somewhere, probably an archive, somewhere hidden away, there might be paw prints of contracts by Rin Tin Tin.
That's pretty cool.
And I'm pretty sure, I know we've had a guest on who actually knew Lassie and worked with Lassie. I'm pretty sure that he would actually argue that that was probably the best actor dog on any kind of set. Well, with that said, let's dive into the Weekly Roundup.
The Weekly Roundup. Yeah.
Alright, this week on our Weekly Roundup, as I had mentioned in the open, we actually just got done with the PTO Holiday Bazaar. Now, this was a crafts fair over at the Rolla Middle School, and all kinds of unique crafts. I didn't have a chance to look around. I don't know, did you get any opportunity?
No, I didn't.
You didn't either?
No. That was unfortunate, but probably a good thing for our pocketbook.
Probably. I was working the adoptions. All of
For part of it.
For part of it, yeah. Well, I was there for a little over 2 hours. I got there a little bit. You were there like 3.5? 4?
I was there from noon, 12:15.
Yeah.
Till 2:30.
Outside, yeah, doing the adoption part.
Out in the straight heat.
Yeah.
Or summer, or the sun. That was fun.
Yeah. Last minute event. Event planning, I guess you could say, is you actually decided with some other board members that, you know what, we're going to actually have the kittens there.
Right. We have so many fosters, and they have to get exposure. They need to find homes. They're costing a lot of money. But, yes, it was a last minute thing. So we contacted the holiday, or the PTO, and they said, well, we'll put you right next to the door, and you can have the cats on the outside. But we signed a contract saying no animals on the inside.
Okay.
Okay, sure, not a problem. They set us up at they actually gave us a bigger booth space. They gave us a 10 by 10 versus just a 12 by 4, what we originally had. And gave us access to electricity without paying for it.
And what was
we
great,
didn't need it,
what was really good though, is that you had the right by the door, so pretty much full exposure.
Yeah.
And I'm on the other side of the door outside, which again, anybody who walked out saw the cats.
Yep.
That was really cool.
Yep. And we got a lot of attention. Those cats brought in a lot of people. Several donations. Not only did we have the cats there for adoption, we also had crafts made. One of our volunteers, Brandy, she worked really hard at making these super cute bows, adorable bandanas, just the cute of the cute.
You had your
toys.
actual dog toys that you make, and
Glenda had a dog bed.
Right.
And also...
and all proceeds went to Phelps County Animal Welfare League to help with all the spay and neuters and all of the things that
I'm not
is
sure
needed.
exactly where all the money, which account the money is going to go into, but big things can happen.
Right.
And that's the really big exciting part. Out of the adoption event, 2 of our babies.
Yep, we
2
have.
of our babies got adopted.
Which is really, really shocking still. Now we brought 5. No, we brought 5. The last 5 we had. We brought Spencer Rhodes. We brought Double Toil. We brought Lucky, and a last minute addition was going to be Freddy, or the one I call Catsup.
Freddy.
Freddy Catsup. How's that?
Freddy.
Now, with the whole thing with Freddy is he hasn't been vetted yet, which I'll get to that in a second. We weren't expecting anything except for exposure for him, so that hopefully in time, somebody would see him and, that would tug on their heart. And then all of a sudden what would happen is that they would contact Pakal and say, hey, I want to adopt him. Well, we no sooner we dropped them off at 10. And full exposure. I mean, a chaos of people coming over, wanting to see these cats. I mean, like, they were rock stars. They were the Beatles, almost.
They come in waves.
Yes. Yes, they do. And, I thought we were just going there just to bring them and set that up, and it turned out we were there for almost an hour. And that was kind of interesting. We leave, we went back home because we weren't going to be, due to go back until 2, at least that's what it was supposed to be. And what happens is we find out that Freddy's already been adopted, and now I have to set up a vet appointment to actually get his shots.
Yeah, because they want to adopt him right away. They're willing to pay the $50. 35 of it will go to the veterinarian to ensure the neuter at the proper time.
Veterinarian choice.
Of choice, yes. No hesitation. They even came back. I forgot to tell you this.
Oh.
They came back just so they can see him again.
Oh, that's cute.
They went all the way home, all the way back,
Aww.
and brought their little sister just to see the cat again. Because the little sister has been wanting a kitten so bad for a long time. And sure enough, they came over and just loved on him, and he just went limp and
that was it.
Melted in her arms, and it was done. It was a done deal.
And he was actually going to be the most expensive adopted cat He wasn't even supposed to be adopted, technically.
They didn't bat an eye.
Yeah, it was like...
They're like, we love him.
All the other ones are a $15 donation, pretty much, is what it's going to be. I mean, you talk about hundreds of dollars that Pakal has put into each cat, countless hundreds of hours that Sarah and I have, obviously by raising these cats up from either bottle feeding them or at the very beginning when their eyes and ears opened. So we were really encouraged that we were going to adopt out everybody, because how is it possible with Double and Toil?
I don't know. Double and Toil are the perfect cats.
They are.
They are the perfect cat. I mean, yeah, the one could really learn to go for his litter box a little bit more.
I think he gets excited.
I think he does too, and I think he forgets to go.
Yeah.
Still a baby.
Yeah.
But they are so loving, they're so sweet, they're friendly, they play, they love animals. So why they're still available is beyond me.
I don't know. And you know what's great about this podcast is it's kind of interactive. If you're thinking to yourself, well, I can't see what he looks like, I don't understand what you're talking about, you can go to the Groomer Next Door podcast on Facebook and you can see videos of these cats. So you'll actually be able to get an idea. It's almost like that split screen kind of view where all shows have it on your iPad or your phone. So I was surprised. And then towards the end, I realized, okay, it's time to break down. It was just about 3:30. I'm noticing, it's time. These guys have exerted themselves long enough. They need to go. So I'm getting them ready to go. One of the guys comes back with his grandmother and says, hey, I really want to adopt Spencer. And I was just like, Now at this point, I have spent the last couple hours talking to people, telling the story of all 3 different kennels, where it's Spencer, the Ozark Actors Theater kittens, and even down to Lucky and Freddie. I've told this story about 1,000,000 times so far. And he had lingered like a lot of people were there, asking questions, interacting. It was a full interactive experience. And I'm about ready to break down, the tables and the kennels. I mean, it was, you talk about a large amount of stuff that needed to be taken down. And at that point, I'm bringing him into the actual gymnasium where your table's at. And he says, hey, I really want to adopt Spencer. Okay, well, we have an adoption process that has to be done. I sent him to you because I actually haven't done the adoptions. So
right.
I wanted to give you that one because I'm like, I'm going to mess that up.
So he comes in and he's just so quiet. And he goes, I want to adopt a cat. Well, who are you interested in? The one that the guy keeps calling Spencer.
The one the guy calls Spencer.
Okay, you like Spencer? He goes, I really like him. He's so pretty and he's so calm. I love his color.
Yeah, that's funny.
I'm like, okay.
I had a lot of people that say that.
He says, but I need help with this. And he needed help filling out the application.
He had some, mental issues. Nothing that was going to be bad. He was definitely...
It's different.
Well,
it's different.
I think it's great.
So I asked him the questions. He understands that there's no decline.
Right.
And he understands that everybody's, he's neutered, and he goes, yes, because we don't want any babies.
This cat is going to make such a difference for him.
Yeah, and he already has a cat,
yeah,
too.
But I think Spencer's going to be a major influence on him.
I hope so. I hope they're able to, be buddies and really enjoy each other. He has a job for
the university.
And then he came in with his work uniform.
Yeah.
But he was just so happy. Every time we talked about him, he just lit up.
Yeah.
So I know Spencer would go to a good person.
And that's part of the whole adoption. We've talked about how we go through these adoption processes and how they can be very, very strict. And you have to make sure everything is done for the animal and for the owner.
Yeah, I called his mom. He put down as a reference, and obviously he's not going to put down previous employers and stuff. So,
right.
I called his mom, and I said, is he responsible? And I asked if he takes his other cat to regular veterinarian care. And she goes, yes, they do. And they also have it set for him that they call him a week before the appointment, and then they call him the night before the appointment, and then they set up next appointment.
That's awesome.
So they have it set for him already. And I asked, what's your backup plan in case something happens? And he goes, I have a backup plan. I have my mom.
And
okay.
And again, here's one thing. I mean, we have preached this one for the very longest time. Disabilities and animals are very, very important. We think that we don't. I'm not going to say we think. We've read it. We've seen this. It is such a big influence. And I talked to this guy for a great deal of time. He was very sweet, very nice guy, and you could just see. We've even said this before, where people have said that this cat or this dog, they're my soulmate in a sense. I would honestly go out there and go, I can see where Spencer would be his soulmate, in where that's the perfect cat kind of cat and cat parent type bond.
Yeah.
So I was happy about it. It was the right fit. I didn't see the other lady who adopted Freddie.
It was a teenage girl, and she had to get clearance from her parents, and the parents completely agreed that it's okay, it's time for her little sister to have a cat, and they want a kitten. And this way they can really bond with it young and grow up with.
Right.
So this little girl, if the cat's taken care of well, could possibly live enough for her to go to college.
Right.
Because the girl is about Claire's age.
Right.
So that kid could take that cat with her to college.
That's cool.
So, the cats live so much longer when they're indoors. When they're outside, it's only 2-3 years.
And that was a lot of questions that were thrown as, are they indoor, outdoor? No, they're only indoor. And, these are things that we've covered adoptions and how it goes with us in previous episodes, but it was a good event. It was a good event. Obviously we have 2 cats that have found homes now, and I would not be surprised if somebody contacts us and says, hey, you know what, is Double still available, or is Toil available? Just for the simple fact that we had so much traffic throughout all of it.
Yep. So here's hoping to the 2 better of all the cats we have.
Right.
We have had Double and Toil.
I know, the best.
They're still here.
I mean,
it's nice because we have 2 more cats to snuggle with, but still, you think these guys would have gone
Well, that was the funny part. They kept saying, people kept going, why are they so calm? Well, they're held and they're pampered. I mean, they've been pampered.
Hand raised.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they're hand raised. I mean, they've got a nice system. I mean, they play with dogs. They have all of this that goes on, and it was always fun to watch the kids go, I really want a cat, and the parents would be like, no. But then it was fun when you would actually hear, I want that cat, and the kid was like, well, I do too, and they're like, but your dad won't let me have one. And I'd think to myself, if only Sarah had that same kind of reaction. Instead of, honey, I love you, guess what I just brought home?
Moving on.
Something else that we actually finished this week. We did we had a 8-day stint where we were house sitting. Well, not house sitting, pet sitting is probably the best way of putting it. And I want to tell you, that was the greatest experience I've had. Those dogs, the last night when we went in there, oh gosh, I felt so bad. I missed them already.
Yeah.
That was great.
Too.
That was great. It was brought to us by a friend of ours had recommended us to somebody else. We went over, we met her a couple weeks ago, and it was a perfect fit. And I am hoping that she goes back on vacation sooner than what she's planning, because I miss those dogs. I want to go back. All right. Well, we don't have GND news this week because we have a guest coming on in a little bit. So we are going to move on to Guess the Breed.
Guess the breed. With your host, Chris Green.
All right, this week on Guess the Breed, I really love this dog, so I really had to choose it as my choice of dogs. I was thinking about it as I was driving up here, and I go, you know what, I have a contestant on this week's episode, and I'm going to actually ask her if she can guess it. So, contestant, are you ready?
No.
Now, of course, I never tell her anything about the dog, because honestly, I always enjoy hearing her get the wrong answer. That's fun. That's the fun part for me. So, with that said, this dog's, obviously the attributes, I had to get it from a really interesting way. Its origin is in the United States. The actual tasks of the dog is guard dog, hunting dog, large game, family dog, and that is a weird one I have not actually seen, bull baiting. The height of this dog is 58.6 to 68.5 centimeters for male. I think, yeah, and it actually doesn't say male or female. The weight is between 41 to 52 kilograms.
Well, come on. Like, I know what that is.
I don't either. I can't convert it. I'm not in the metrics. Sorry. Figure it out. Lifespan is 10 to 11 years. Registry is UKC. And the group that it's in is the Molossers.
What?
Molosssers. Molossers? I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if there's anything else I can give you information on, and I don't think there is. Nope, there's not. Do you have a guess?
Johnston.
Swing, swing.
I swear you must have looked at my phone. You had to. How'd you guess that?
Because you said your favorite dog, and that was the dog that we were babysitting. So
you...
Of course, it's a Johnston.
Wait. Time out. When did you ever start listening to me? You really never did. So here's a little bit about the Johnson.
Is it Johnson or Johnston?
Johnson. I thought Johnston, S-T, but it's Johnson.
Well, there's two types.
The American Bulldog of the Johnson type, also Bully type, or Classic type, is a large-sized breed of dog that originated in the United States. The Johnson type is one of generally accepted two types of American Bulldog. The other is the Scott type. Both are named after the breeders who were influential in developing them, John D. Johnson and Alan Scott. These are more commonly known as Classic or Bully type and Standard or Performance type. Experts, however, consider 5 different types besides the 2 mentioned, namely the Painter type, the Old Southern White type, and the hybrid type. This article will describe, which I'm not going to go into, different things about the history. I love this dog. It's playful, it's fun, it's good at being a guard dog. It literally is everything all rolled into one. And it looks like an American Bulldog. But it has a different way. I don't know what actually really can define the two. It's just been bred differently, I guess. Is that
I don't know. All I know is that they're freaking awesome.
It is awesome. If anybody has a chance, Google it. They are awesome. I had the most fun with the one that we were actually pet sitting. Awesome. Well, that concludes Guess the Breed for this week. Thank you, contestant.
Oh, hello. Hold on a sec. Dad, we have a guest on the podcast.
Well, we are so glad to be joined this week. We have a filmmaker joining us for the first time on the podcast. We have Ari Cohen, who is actually trying to make a movie called Ace of Hearts, documentary for the rights of dogs in Los Angeles. Thank you very much for making the time for us. I know you're busy. I know you're really pushing for the next 7 days to get this done. So thank you for making the time for us.
No, of course. Thanks for having me on and wanting to help support us.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I mean, it really is. I mean, you're out there, as I said before we started, you're doing something, you're making something instead of just watching it, and right there alone, I respect that wholeheartedly. So, tell everyone how you got into making films.
Well, my producing partner, Patrick, and I, we wanted to make a documentary that really helped spread awareness for dogs and euthanasia in Los Angeles. And, we really didn't know where we were going to start. And what we did was we went around to a bunch of the different charities and dog organizations in Los Angeles, and to try to find a story, like a really inspiring story. Say if the kid was having an illness and their parents adopted a dog, and the dog sort of helped the kid get over the illness, something that could really, just shine a light on how important animals are and how important rescuing animals are instead of buying one from a puppy mill.
Mm-hmm.
But we were really struggling to find a story, actually. And then, it took us about a month, and we were just struggling, and we went down to this charity rescue event in Venice by a charity called Much Love. And again, we were struggling to find a story, but what we found was that the work that those leaders were doing, the Much Love leaders were doing in Los Angeles, was an incredible story. And the leaders of the Much Love rescue a lot of them are talent agents at some of the bigger talent agencies here in LA, and they're working 70, 80 hours a week. And then once they get off work at, say, 8 or 7:30, they'll rush down to an animal hospital, and on the weekends they'll pull animals. And basically their entire lives are their job and rescuing animals. And we did a whole piece on them that turned out to be really, really good, to also help them raise money at their fundraising events. And we just sort of got more exposed to the world of rescue and the state of euthanasia here in Los Angeles. We just sort of caught the bug, and we started wanting to create more videos and to help raise more awareness, because the state of euthanasia in LA is really, really bad. There's about 14,000 animals were euthanized last year in 2015. And these organizations have been around for a long time. They do really, really great work. But we just thought that through new media and through social media and through video, we could just spread more awareness and help them raise more funds, which they always need. So we and my partner and I, we really like creating content. So we thought, we like creating content. We might as well do it for a cause that really helps too. So that's pretty much how we got started.
That's cool. I mean, trust me, I know how hard it is to find content. Trust me, I'm putting this together every week, and to find content sometimes can be a challenge. And you're lucky though. In one area, you're right there in the hottest place to find it. I'll tell you, you really have that luxury. I always say, if we would have done this podcast back in Los Angeles, it would have been a lot easier. Unfortunately, we started one here, but it is true. When you get bit by the bug of rescue and hearing all these stories, or even doing them, it is absolutely amazing. I try one day, going out and doing a rescue, just for firsthand, almost kind of a POV type version. And for people who don't know a POV, point of view, try it. And just be part of one for like a hoarding situation. See if you can get in with a group. See if you can go down to a hoarding situation and go in there and see the conditions. I mean, you would be shocked. It's like watching extreme hoarders on TV, but in real life, and then you actually get to see what these animals are in these conditions and eating their own, feces and emaciated. And it is just sad. And you get them out of the situation if they're, not absolutely scared to death of you. To get them out, you'll feel this calming that goes over them, and it's amazing to actually hear them sigh for the first time. You can actually feel their relief. Oh man, it is inspiring. You will have like a blank canvas painted over 100 times.
Yeah, definitely. And what's fascinating with dogs is they don't hold on to their past very much. I mean, once a dog can be abused and in a hoarding situation, and 2 weeks later can be a completely different dog. So to see that transformation, for people to see that transformation, is a pretty incredible thing to witness as well.
It is. And some of them do, I mean, unfortunately, some do have it. I mean, some do have that skittish kind of disposition. I mean, we rescued an Akita, and she still cannot go through a garage because she was kept in there for the first year. And we've had her for 5 years. She still can't go through a garage. There's another dog that was a hoarding situation that still has a little bit of timidness towards men. Not aggression, but just timid. And she still has that feeling. So, I mean, most of the time they do shed that, but there is still almost that PTSD to them. Some do, and it's a weird way. I don't understand the psyche of it, but yeah, it's challenging. So tell everyone about your documentary that you're making right now.
Yeah, so we were really trying to hone in on the question of, why the euthanasia rate is still so high in Los Angeles. And we were talking to a lot of different people, and one of the real leaders here in LA, her name's Kari Whitman, and she's had a rescue here in LA for about 20 years called Ace of Hearts. And we really asked her, you've been doing this for so long, you've rescued thousands of dogs, but what's bothering you? What are you really fighting for now, right? And she was a big part of helping pass the mandatory spay and neuter law in Los Angeles in 2008, which is a law where you have to basically spay and neuter your pet unless you have a breeding license, and that costs around $1,000. But the problem is that the law isn't really being enforced. There's just not the manpower, right? And I don't think people are really too aware of the law, right? There are tons of backyard breeders who are still doing this, not knowing it's against the law. And that's really what causes the euthanasia rate to be so high. So we wanted to do this piece on this law because people are fighting, right? And laws are being passed to lower the euthanasia rate. But if a law exists and it's not being enforced, then what good is a law? You're kind of living in a lawless society, or at least the dogs are. Right. So we wanted to really tell the story, how the law got passed, sort of how it's being enforced, why it's not making much of a difference even though the law was passed, and what additional steps need to be made. Because I think really there needs to be education, and this law needs to be enforced in a different way in order for us to make a meaningful impact. And that's what Kari is all about, and that's what her main mission is right now. She's passed this law, but now it needs to be enforced. So we want to kind of spread that message, and that's what we hope to do in this documentary.
And I sadly don't have a lot of the information on who enforces it, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be animal control that enforces that law. And I'm pretty sure you have a direct comment from animal control on it. I mean, you can't call LAPD to show up because obviously for every officer there's like 30 citizens, and it probably has risen since my time living there. But animal control should be handling this. That's pretty much that's their job. So I'm really surprised to see that this law has not been enforced, because it does make sense. It is their jurisdictions, their exact thing. So I found that to be really weird, because I did listen to the actual video that's on your Kickstarter, and I thought, what? How are they not enforcing this? Then, when you mention backyard breeders, of course I'm drawn to living in California, living in Los Angeles, and I think to myself, one little square of grass is pretty much the backyard to most houses, and very small backyards, to oppose when you get out to the countryside. And of course I'm not talking about Ontario and Riverside and spots like that, or North Corona or Corona itself. I'm talking about Los Angeles County. And I think to myself, how they're able to pull backyard breeders there, it shocks me. And I might be, leading more into the things, but it's like we did a thing on social media, the new backyard breeder, how people are breeding their dogs in the house and then using Facebook and Craigslist and every social media outlet out there to profit. And I think it's bizarre. And it's no longer, dog for sale or outside of a Target where they're going, hey, my pup just had puppies. Would you like to buy one for $50? They're just using social media. And it's almost in a sense where they're not being seen. So I imagine that has to be an issue.
It is.
So you pretty much have laid out what the message is on a documentary. So I'm going to skip ahead. What's the process of making a film, and what struggles on this documentary have you ran into?
Well, the process is really just one for spawning that story, right? That can sometimes be a challenge, but I think we've landed on a pretty good story here. That could be, it deals with the social issue and with dogs. So I think people will be pretty interested in that. And then I think it's just finding good characters and people who are knowledgeable and really come alive on camera. Right? I think, I've been doing this for some time, and when you get somebody who's just pretty dull and boring on camera, even if what they're saying is really smart, and it just doesn't come across well. You want somebody to be, pretty animated. So Kari is very animated, and she's actually been on, she's done acting in her past, and she's been on a reality TV show. So finding people like that is really helpful, and just in terms of making the piece something that people are drawn to. And then I think it's just about getting a really good team, right? Getting a really good director. I think music is really important to set the mood and change the mood, to have sort of different hills and valleys throughout the piece. And getting people, for a documentary like this, to have them really know what they're talking about, and really explain it clearly. So I think when you can have a good team and you can have good people who are good on camera, and you can get a really good message, then you could, hopefully half the time come out with a pretty good product, something that people want to watch and can kind of catch on. So those are the challenges, but we have a good team around us, and I think we're in a good place to make this a pretty impactful piece.
And see, that's always so cool to me. I always think that everything has to come together in post. I mean, you can film everything, but man, once you put everything together, this giant jigsaw puzzle, putting it together must be absolutely challenging. And what to cut and what to put, that has to be just overwhelming. I don't know if
it is.
I don't think I can handle it. I want to say I could, but man.
Yeah, the editing is never easy, and it always takes longer. It's always so many decisions to be made. What to go where, and what part of the interviews to include, especially when you have hours of interviews. Just getting those can be not, I guess, challenging, but just if depending on how much of a perfectionist you are. Let's just say that. In terms of how long it takes.
And you have to decide what you're really committed to, what you're in love with. Because, man, I mean, what if you're in love with one piece, but there's something that's better for the film, and it's better, but you're in love with this one interview, and that's got to be challenging. And on the plus side, though, it's not like 15 years ago where you had film that you actually that cost a fortune. Now it's just all digital, so you can scrap whatever you want. It didn't cost you anything besides time. So that's gonna be nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. Any older person listening to this podcast right now is probably rolling their eyes. Right. I
mean, I'm 35. I mean, I remember the film days, and I just think to myself, nowadays when you hear, well, do you have a camera? Of course I have a camera. It's on my phone. I mean, I can film better stuff on my phone than what's out there. It's the actual editing software that can be the cost. That's where the challenge is. So how much is needed to actually produce this documentary?
Well, I think the budget can always be a moving target, right? I think no matter what whether you're working on a feature film or something small, but I think we're aiming to do this, bootstrapping it and I think we can do it for around 20,000. If we had more, we would just be able to add, more production days, perhaps more people on set. But we think we can tell the story and finish it up and have a good piece for about 20. So we're hoping that we'll reach our goal on Kickstarter and be able to do that.
Now, do you have anything filmed so far?
Yeah, we have our sizzle reel, which we have up on Kickstarter, and we have more footage. But we didn't want to film it all until we had a little bit more funding. But the sizzle reel will give you an overview of what is to come and who Kari is, and sort of explains again what our documentary is going to be about.
Cool. I mean, I was thinking that you did. I didn't even ask you that before. I was like, well, maybe I should ask that question. But yeah, I thought you actually, because I remember I said I saw that one piece, and I was like, there's got to be more, right? There has to be. So, investors that are out there, come on, guys. I mean, you can see more if you need to. I mean, you can contact them. I'm sure they'll show you more. And I mean, this is kind of an easy pickings. And you still need 14,000 just to actually reach your goal, correct?
Yep, okay. About 14.
Okay.
Yep.
In your opinion, now, again, we live in a day and age where anybody who's making any kind of production can actually give their opinions. It's not like the way olden days where back in Hollywood you couldn't say anything, you were kind of shelved away, hidden from society. So in your opinion, what needs to be done to actually enforce the spay and neuter law?
Well, I think that, that is, I can give you, a simple answer, but I think as we produce this piece and we start interviewing these people and we start, going further down the line, we're going to have a much better answer. I think, my producing partner and I are going into this, not really being experts on this ourselves. We're trying to find this out and solve this, problem just like everybody else is.
Right.
So, and that's part of the fun of being able to produce content, and that's what we really like is, the process of discovering things as you're making a video or a documentary. Yeah. So I think, a big part of it is, obviously enforcing the law and making sure that there's enough personnel to do that. But I think it probably goes a lot deeper than that, and that's what we want to really uncover in this piece.
You want to blow the lid off of that and make people make the actual right people accountable. I'm with you on that. I'm completely with you on it. Finally, how can people get involved and help you get this film made?
Well, if you could go on our Kickstarter, and you'll see the link there, and if you could share it with your friends and on your own personal social media, that would be amazing. I think, the bigger microphone we have, the more likely we are to get funded. So anything anybody can do to share it with their friends and family, that would be great. And that's, and I think the biggest help they can in terms of helping us get our funding, but also just get involved with your local rescue and just help the cause yourself to become a foster or, go down and volunteer on the weekends, I think is also something that, we always try to tell people to do too.
I swear, I think you've been reading my bio. You've been reading all about this podcast. I swear you have. Everything you say, I've been saying this for almost 3 years. It sounds so familiar. It's nice, actually. I'm not going to lie. Do you have a website for this actual movie?
Not for the movie. All we have is our Kickstarter campaign right now.
And all of these details will be on our show description. It will be more on our actual Facebook page. It will go out there. We'll push it as much as we can as well because, we definitely support this.
Well, we really appreciate that. Thank you, Chris.
Oh, thank you. Well, this will be... until I let you guys know if this has been made or not, we'll kind of put a bookmark in this one. So thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
Thanks again.
Thank you, Ari, for making some time with us. I'm really hoping that this movie gets made. I had to do some research before actually sitting down and talking with him, the law is right there. You know, the spay and neuter law is right there. My question is still, why is animal control not enforcing it? We had the conversation back, you know, when we talked on this, but you know, it really does pose that question. That's their job. It's Los Angeles County. I mean, there's going to be dogs that are going to run around that, you know, get out. That we know. But I almost feel, and this is more observation from living in Los Angeles for 29 of my 35 years, I really honestly almost kind of wonder if it's like that King of the Hill episode where animal control didn't do anything.
Oh, the control room.
Yeah. And it almost kind of felt like, it feels like that, because you're not going to send Los Angeles Police Department to everybody's house to go, hey, is your dog intact? No. But why animal control when they get these reports of, hey, there's a puppy mill down the street? Are they not investigating these things? And I'm so happy that this lady actually has, you know, gone out there and done it. And with that said, you know, we haven't played kind of a sample of their movie. I'm actually gonna have a little bit of a sample so you guys can hear it and understand it. So Claire, can you do me a favor and put a clip of their movie?
Ace of Hearts Dog Rescue saves hundreds of dogs from being euthanized in shelters every year, while at the same time fighting for change in the legal system. Founder Kari Whitman played a major role in getting the mandatory spay and neuter law passed in Los Angeles in 2008.
We've been going since 1999. We got our 501c3 status in 2001. The kill rate in Los Angeles is horrific. So we fight the legal system a lot. We fight a lot of landlords. We fight a lot of HOAs. We also fight the city. Los Angeles County is a mandatory spay and neuter law. The problem that we're having is that nobody's enforcing this law. So even if we find a backyard breeder and we call the shelter and say, hey, by the way, we've got a backyard breeder on, 67th and 1st Street. Can you go out and do something? They're like, we don't have the manpower.
Kari is continuing her activism as the law is not adequately being enforced to make meaningful change in the euthanasia rate.
The only way that we're going to see change and see a decrease in kill rate is that the laws are enforced that we helped get passed in LA County. It's the only way. The downtime that I have is doing something that's inspiring to me. So I haven't found anything else in my personal life that inspires me as much as saving animals. So maybe it's personal for me too.
By contributing to our campaign, you will be supporting our documentary on how the mandatory spay and neuter law was passed in Los Angeles, how the law is being enforced, and what changes need to be made.
Now we have to go to media. Media is the biggest voice.
Please review our rewards below and become our partner to spread this message to help make Los Angeles a no-kill city.
By having her actually do a lot of the narration and what she was saying, it kind of goes back to the whole part of putting the right people on camera, being able to articulate everything with feelings and emotions. She does have the feelings and emotions, as you could hear. Now, the only problem is, the big task is, how do we actually find them, the 14,000, to actually make this movie? And one thing I've done is, since I've actually talked to him, is I sent a couple emails out to different places. I talked to an actual festival, which unfortunately was, not really as helpful as I was hoping. They tried. They were really nice about it. They said it's nothing that they do. They don't actually, help filmmakers find funding, which I thought, well, that's kind of stupid. But on the plus side, they did say when they get this film done that they would love for them to submit it. So, there is a plus.
If they can,
yeah,
something.
And it is a challenge. Making something like this is always going to be a challenge. For all of you listening, though, what we ask is, share this. Share this out there. Share what they're doing. Share their information. They got a week to actually raise that money. Honestly, it's not that much for them to pull off a $14K as long as they actually get the right people. So that's, hopefully with the power of a microphone, hopefully it actually works.
If people want to stop starving dogs, if people want to stop dogs being euthanized every 3 seconds, it starts by sterilizing the dogs that are on this earth right now.
Right.
And especially in high dense population areas. Get those dogs sterilized. And things start getting better.
Well,
they get cats sterilized. Things get better.
We'll look at, Ari had mentioned the statistics of 2015, that how many dogs were euthanized because there's just overcrowding in the shelters, and they're kill shelters because they have nothing else to do. They have no other means to actually, help these poor animals, and it's absolutely ridiculous. I have opinions on it, and they're not going to help. But it's, part of my problem with living in Los Angeles is there is parts of these areas that will breed and breed and breed for financial gain. And there is a lot of laws that are not being enforced, and this is one of them. Step up. Do your job. And I'm glad that he actually, with his producing partner, are actually trying to do this. And I totally get it. I told him afterwards, I'm totally with you. I'm totally behind you on it. And I know how hard it is to get these things launched. So I do hope that it actually helps. And I hope that he's able to get this thing up and going.
And we'll be sharing have we shared the link to his?
It will go up on the Facebook page, and I'll share it around.
Yeah.
And
I'll be sharing it as well.
And it'll be on the show descriptions as well. Once we mass promote this like we do each week, hopefully, something will happen.
Even $10,
yeah,
all will help.
Well, yeah, I mean, and the best part about making a movie like this is they do have some things done, so I'm sure that they're able to, work around. I'm sure that they're going to be able to figure out how to make this work, and I look forward to them actually letting me know how it goes, because I'm definitely into it.
Me too.
Well, with that said, I hear the applause sign, and that must mean that it's time for us to get going. And I hate to say this, but we have a great deal to do still, and it's already nighttime, and we still got a lot to do. And it's Saturday. How did this happen?
Well, luckily Claire is over at a friend's house right now, and
well, that'll help us out in part of the things that we have to get done. But still, it's Saturday, and it's like a work day. That's every Saturday. We get one day off, folks. Oh well. It's worth it. Hey, we found two cats' homes today. By giving up our day off, we found 2 cats' permanent homes. It's worth it.
It is.
I'm Chris Green. Have a fantastic week.
And I'm Sarah Green. Make sure everybody realizes life is so short. Play with your pet.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay, gotta go in my bedtime. We hope you enjoyed the podcast.
And now the show is over now.